Hey everyone, my name is Casey Rain and welcome back to our third installment of this series where we go deep into the facts and folklore of each of Prince's albums to bring you the facts you didn't know. Today, we're going into Prince's third album. And we hope you've got something to clean up with because we're going to get dirty with Dirty Mind. Let's do this. But before we do, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss all of our videos as soon as they're uploaded. Alright. Fact number 1. With practically no budget left to record this album from Warner Brothers, Prince recorded Dirty Mind in a leaky basement studio that he built in the basement of a rented house on the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Perhaps this is where he first had the idea to purify oneself in those waters. With this in mind, the raw, lo-fi punk style of this album was a genius move because it went hand in hand with the sonic textures of the album and the way the record sounded overall. A lot of the record sounds the way it does simply because it wasn't recorded in a big pro studio, a huge difference to the first two albums. But because the visual style and songwriting is also dirty and raw, it just made sense as a cohesive, bold statement. One other interesting thing to note is that because he literally couldn't fit one in the studio, there's no piano anywhere on this album. Fact number 2. Legend has it that the song When You Were Mine was written by Prince alone in his hotel room on tour in Florida after declining to go to Disneyland with the rest of his band. Prince also stated that he was listening to John Lennon when he wrote it. Weirdly enough, John Lennon died that same year, 2 months to the day of Prince releasing this album. Fact number 3. There were people at Warner Brothers, Prince's label, who objected to how raunchy the album was, and particularly the content of songs like Head and Sister. One Warner Brothers staff member allegedly said to Prince in response to hearing the album for the first time, "Does your mother know what you're doing?" To which Prince, of course, simply shot that person a very sour look. Fact number 4. It wasn't just the Warner Brothers staffers that were nervous about the content of this album. When promotional copies of Dirty Mind were sent to radio stations, there was a note enclosed that simply stated, "Please audition before airing." You can imagine that was a good heads up. I'm not exactly sure how well songs like Sister and Head would have been received in some conservative parts of the US at the time. In a weird way, this is kind of a precursor to what would happen 4 years later with Purple Rain, when of course Purple Rain was the first album to have the parental advisory sticker, and the reason that sticker was created. Fact number 5. This is the first Prince album to contain a song not actually written by Prince. The album closer, Partyup, was written by none other than Prince's childhood friend and future leader of the time, Morris Day. Over the years, it wasn't clear exactly how much was Morris and how much was Prince, but in his autobiography On Time, Morris states that the entire music to the track was him, and the lyrics and vocal melody came from Prince. After telling Morris that he wanted the track, Prince gave him 2 options. He'd either pay Morris $10,000 for the song or he'd get Morris a record deal. Of course, we know which option Morris chose, and not too long after this is when the world first heard of a band called The Time. Fact number 6. This would become the first Prince album to feature significant musical and vocal contributions from his bandmates. Dr. Fink got a writing credit for the title track, since it was based on a groove that he came up with, and he also got to perform the synth parts on the song as well as on the song Head. Lisa got to sing vocals on the song Head, and Uptown was based on a bass line that Andre Simone came up with. The final fact: it was also during this era that Prince would give a song to another artist that they then totally re-record with different musicians. Prince wrote the song I Don't Wanna Stop and gave it to actor and singer Wren Woods. It had been released 2 years later on her album As Is, but without any musical performance by Prince on the released version. Strangely enough, the song would later be removed from the album on later pressings, allegedly at Prince's request, but it's never been clear why. One rumor suggests that Prince had wanted to sign Wren to a production and development deal. She turned him down, and he pulled the song in retaliation. That's it for this video, the third in our series of the facts you didn't know about Prince's albums. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave us a comment, like the video, share it with all your friends on social media, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. My name is Casey Rain. We are The Violet Reality, and we'll catch you next time.
Hi, I'm Elisa Fiorillo, and you're watching The Violet Reality on YouTube. All things Prince!